Good morning. Joey here. Um, I want to free whim something, and that's the subject of ghosts opposed to different timelines being seen. Could what people perceive as them seeing ghosts in fact be uh, a glimpse at another timeline? Being that we live in the present all the time. Uh, Future, like I say, in biological hardware, we perceive light, and that's future. Once it hits our eyes, or it becomes the past, and our brain stores the information. So the space that we live in is a split moment, and then that physical realm, the same physical realm we're in, becomes a different timeline, which you could call it different dimension or whatever it may be. But the fact of the matter is, the space we take up has been occupied by someone and something else throughout millions of years, and then will be occupied, you know, after we leave it. After we're in the past, or we're headed. As soon as it becomes a past, this space I'm taking up right now is the past, and there might be something there, something here other than me, if that makes any sense. Um, Now, some people perceive this, as residual energy from the past. They try to ghost hunt, but the more I think about it, um, it's different timelines, I believe, that is being seen. For myself, um, yeah, deja vu's, that falls in there. Um, Here's a story, a true story about myself. Um, I lived on Sherwood Drive, and my kids were young. My oldest, I believe, was probably around 8, 7, 8. And this was around 2002 to 2005, somewhere in there. But I recycled, keep the plastic here, the paper here. I was a recycler, and I would stash the empty milk jugs or whatnot under my sink. And one night I'm watching TV, Saturday night, laying on the couch, and I hear there's all this crinkling, like smushing jugs. And I go out, and my cabinet doors are open, and uh, all the plastics laying out, all over the kitchen floor. And I put it back, um, go back, lay down. About 3, 4 minutes later, it happens again. So I start talking to it. I'm like, enough's enough. I'm not afraid. Whatever it is you're trying to do, um, put it back, and I was into that. And a few weeks later, uh, it starts happening again, and uh, I put it back, and then I lay down, and then all of a sudden I see this man peek around the corner of the house. You know, there's an area of the house where the basement. You come up out of the basement, you could go either into the living room, or into the kitchen, or into the hallways where the 3 bedrooms were. And then as he looked, he just back in the kitchen. I went around and looked, and he was gone. And then uh, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks later, um, started all over again. Man, I just got to the point where, look, I was pissed off, and he looked at me and peeked around the corner and looked at me, and then he goes down the basement steps. And what you got to understand about in the basement is there was a shower, and it was concrete. It had a shower curtain, and even my oldest son, Slade would hear shit in the basement, and after a while, I explained to him, what I thought about it, but you know, when he would go down there, you hear like kids playing at recess, like elementary kids at recess, and coming out of that shower, and you uh, open up the shower curtain, it would stop. Well, this old fella that I was seeing goes down the basement directly into the shower, and I'm hearing when he goes in there this recess, these kids at recess, and I open it, he's gone, sound stops. Well, to my not knowing, not having the knowledge, when I went to give my notice I was moving out, I told the landlord, I says, "There's something up at your house." I said, "There's a, um, I think it's haunted, man." And uh, Ned looked at me. He says, "Well, the gentleman that lived in it before you died, and uh, he lived there for you know a couple years or whatnot, and then died there. And he was a convicted child molester that um, raped kids, and that just blew my mind." Anyway, um, yeah, it still gives me chills, but um, that makes me wonder. I got to thinking about it, and what did I was I seeing the ghost, or was I seeing, you know, was I still don't know, because in that case, you know, was I seeing the past? It had to have been because the gentleman lived there, before us, or should I say, piece of shit, child rapist. Um, but yeah, was seeing through into the past dimension, or was I seeing, residual energy left behind that we perceive as a ghost? I don't know. But what I do know is that if you pay attention around you, if you're perceptive, um, and have an open mind, these things, it's like everything's happening so fast that it almost feels like it's timelines are coming together, and then they cross, then they come back out, like like wavelengths of frequency waves, of radio waves, oscillate, and then at those crossing points, um, could that be where the Mandela effect comes from? You know, which I've been looking into. I'm going to do something on the Mandela effect, but I'm not quite ready. I got a little more research to do on that. I don't know for sure I'm just not ready yet. More questions than you know, personal thoughts about it. But I think I think that it is that time is not a straight line. I think time is more like, you know, the humps, the ups and downs of like a radio frequency. If you know what one of those are, I mean, just look at any shortwave radio. You know, you get and then the distance between each top of each hump is your wavelength. Just like what we see light, it goes same direct. You know, it's got the humps, and the shorter distance between each hump, the higher the frequency. The more distance between each hump, lower the frequency. So time, I don't think it's a straight line, you know, linear straight line. It's more like a radio and then as these frequency this frequency time frequency, you know, it crosses each other. Um, that's when, you know, maybe we could, you know, if we are happen to be certain points in our lives or certain moments or whatnot, if we happen to be paying attention, or you know, we see something like, oh man, you know, I can't believe that, you know, maybe that's just when the timelines are crossing at that exact moment. And then when you feel like the Mandela effect happens, you know, maybe that crossing of the timeline, some things get confused and don't know where to go, so they just hitch a ride with the nearest uh, timeline closest to it, even though it could be the wrong one. And there it is, poof, in existence, and we have no rhyme nor reason how it got there. And yeah, yeah, in my mind's eye it makes sense, but at the same time, like every other thing I think about, you know, there's no proof. Um, but but why I'm here, just free women it. Uh, Vaccinations, um, stay away from them. Don't get vaccinated. Don't let your kids get vaccinated. Don't put, you know, if you getting ready to have children or whatnot, don't, or if you have, don't vaccinations. Period. Anymore, because they will hurt your child in the long run. The shit that they put in them is bad, bad, bad for a baby. Bad. Um, Autism is directly linked to vaccination when your kid is an infant. Directly responsible for autism. There's proof, all kinds of proof out there. All you got to do is go out and read about it, and you will see that there's a direct correlation between your child having autism and the vaccine that they received when they was a baby. Guarantee it. Any kid born between, or at least from 1990, mid 1990s and on, direct correlation. It cannot be denied. And pharmaceuticals that your kid is a hyper kid And oh, you can't. First thing in the parent's head is, go get them ADD medicine. Well, here's a tip for you, parents. Um, a kid, all kids, they're all hyper. That's what being a kid is about. It's not that they're sick, you know. It's not that they're, can't keep. Any kid. Try to remember back when you was a kid. We become adults, and we forget along the line that the world is a playground. We get caught up by all the bullshit that don't matter, and it takes the basic concept of this life and flips it and somehow turns it all serious. And that's the system we live in. But when I was a kid, you go out and play in the dirt, you'd find the nearest mud hole, and you go roll around in it like a pig because you and your buddies, it was fun, you know. And so playing in the dirt and shit, our our bodies build up a resistance to being things, and we didn't get sick like kids these days. Part of the reason is vaccinations. They make our kids, the kids that were being born sick later on. But again, they don't go out and play in the dirt and get dirty and are exposed to the bacteria and whatnot in the dirt, and their natural immune system aren't introduced to these things, so they don't build a resistance to these things. And order for you to be immune to certain things, those certain things have to be introduced to your body for your immune system, your white cells, to know they're there. And the first time you're introduced to the bacteria or whatever it may be, you do get a little sick, because that's your immune system saying, hey, I'm fighting something here. You get a fever, you get sick, but then you get better because um, your immune system kicks its ass. T cells come out, and or the white cells come out, and T cells come out, and bam, kick its ass, and you get better, and you never get it again. It's like chicken pox. You get the chicken pox one time in your life, you know, and then you're immune to it because your antibodies are ready. You catch it over and over again, but it can't get a stronghold because your immune system. Now, uh, I hate hitting two topics in one video, but I just it's on my mind, and I'll probably do I'll probably do a little on the Mandela effect and the different timelines. I want to try and learn how to um, put some articles up while I do my videos. I don't know how to do that yet, but I'm trying to learn. So at any rate, um, yeah, look into definitely, if you're a parent, look into the side effects of these damn vaccines, and before you have your child vaccinated. And the different timelines in time, I'm going to work on a hypothesis to a theory that I'm going to work on, that about the time not being a straight line. I'm really, really thinking about that right now, and how time is an oscillating wave. It's not a standing straight line wave. Which isn't a wave at all. It's a straight line, but time being like a different uh, a wave of a frequency, high or low. Um, any rate, uh, food for thought and peace out.